Hey caregivers, it's Tony with Stuff Seniors Need, and I am coming to you today with a video about multi-generational housing. And the reason for it is pretty plain. If you start to take a look at the future of caregiving, one of the things that I see is that as our parents age, we are not going to be able to rely on the same solutions that they currently are. And what I mean by that is that the current paradigm of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security is going to have to be reformed. These programs are all slated for bankruptcy in the next 15 years or so, maybe even earlier. And you couple that with the skyrocketing costs of nursing homes, and by the 2030s, we're going to have to seek out new solutions to these challenges of caring, first of all, for our aging parents, but even ourselves. So one of the potential solutions could be multi-generational housing. And this is going to become more and more prominent as our parents age and as we age. So what is multi-generational housing? It's exactly what it sounds. A multi-generational house has more than what we would describe as the typical number of generations under one roof. In most cases, we have two. We have the parents and we have the children. But families where 3 or even 4 generations live under one roof are known as multi-generational homes. Why are we going to need them? Very simple. The future of Medicare and Social Security is bleak, to say the least. I was looking at a CNBC article, and they were talking how Medicare is going under in 2030 and Social Security in 2033. And the sad part was, if you read this article, they were acting like that was a good thing. It's only good in the sense that these estimates are, slightly better than the previous estimates when these programs were going to be going belly up. And this means that by 2030, after the baby boomers have retired and they're living on these programs, this is when those programs are going to go bankrupt. And ironically, this also means that at the time that the baby boomers are starting to face these significant cuts, their kids, us, who are going to be expecting the same benefits, well, we're going to see the same cuts, maybe even worse. So this is why we're really going to need to change the entire face of caregiving in this country. Our nation and the world simply will not be able to pay for the amount of care that is required for the senior population. Now, the positives about this, there's several to consider. Okay, first of all, let's start with the financial arrangements, because if you have more people under one roof, it's possible that, you're going to be able to reduce expenses and help the family unit out. It's going to allow our parents to live cheaper. They may be able to contribute to the rent and things of that nature. So there are some financial benefits, hopefully, from this. For their children, okay, they will probably receive some form of supplemental income from their parents, to help lower the rent. So financially, it can make sense, especially if the adult children and their children can provide some form of caregiving that would normally be done, in place of a home health care worker. Okay, if stuff, involves, what I would describe as companion care and not really a medically based home health care. What are the negatives? As you would imagine, not everything is a bed of roses. There are some problems with this. First of all is limited space for the parents. Okay? If you're living in an apartment in a small house, having 1 or potentially 2 extra people in the home can make things really tight. Okay, this could necessitate downsizing everything. That's definitely possible. There's always the feeling of imposition where our parents feel like they're imposing on us. That's natural. This may be forced on them by their physical and their financial decline. And the big problem, quite frankly, is if you and your parents are butting heads and you don't see eye to eye on things. Okay, if you didn't get along, when you were a kid and, your parents growing up, it's quite possible that old rivalries and arguments and, things that had been long settled will all of a sudden come bubbling up to the surface. There are no easy answers to this, but quite frankly, multi-generational housing is going to be something that our society has to start to look into as we're looking to care for the aging population. So I hope that this video gave you some insights into what's going on and to what potentially the future could be. This is Tony with Stuff Seniors Need, and I will see you next time. Take care.